welcome to Champagne and Cuisine, and today we are going to do a quick meal. We are going to do a 20-minute meal that you can come home from work and whip up for your family, and it's so tasty. It doesn't need any sides. It's just very easy to put together. So I already have prepped some things so that we can move along really quickly. So I have my lettuce prepped, I have my tomatoes prepped, I have my cheese, cheddar cheese, sharp cheddar, I have my mozzarella cheese, I have my red onions, I have my jalapeno wraps prepared, and my seasonings. Now, I have my chicken already in its cleanse with lemon juice and vinegar. Before you do anything, you always want to soak your chicken in a cleanse of lukewarm water, lemon juice, and vinegar. It's going to make your chicken very tender. It's going to make it gravitate to the seasonings very well. So it's already cleansed, and now we're going to dry it out on paper towels, and then I'm going to chop it down and we're going to start cooking. So this is my vinegar and lemon juice cleanse. You see, it's going to go ahead and cleanse all of that debris off that chicken. It's going to make the chicken very tender, very moist. I use a apple cider vinegar and I use lemon juice. You're just going to go ahead and put it into your water. You're going to let this sit for about 10 minutes while you prep everything else, while you're getting ready. And now we're about to take this out and put it onto paper towels and allow it to drain. Now you're going to take your chicken out of your cleanse. You're going to set it directly onto some dry, clean paper towels. This is just going to allow the chicken to get rid of all that extra water so that the seasonings can saturate directly into that meat. After every process in the kitchen, you definitely want to wash your hands. After every single thing that I do, going into each new step, I wash my hands. So now that our chicken is ready and it's drained out, as you can see, I bought this chicken from Costco, so it's not much cleaning. But if your chicken needs to be cleaned, this would be the time that you would clean your chicken off. My chicken is very fresh after the cleanse, so I don't really need to do much cleaning on it. We're going to go straight into cutting it. So for the wraps, you want your chicken to be nice and lean. You don't want a really thick piece of chicken in the middle of your wrap. So you're just going to take your sharp knife and you're just going to hold the chicken down to keep it steady, and you're just going to cut right into the chicken and slice it in half, just like that. On all your pieces. And already 2 pieces of boneless chicken can serve 4 people. So after we get our chicken sliced and ready for seasoning, we're going to take our seasoning bowl and we're just going to place our chicken into the seasoning bowl and get it ready for all the magic. So this is a curry chicken wrap. So we're going to use all of these seasonings, and then we're going to add in our curry seasoning, our curry powder, to give it that kick and that punch. And I like to mix mild and hot curry at all times. So it doesn't matter which seasoning you start with. I like to start with my more herb style seasonings, and then I like to go into my spices at the end, but you can do it however you want. So I'm going to start with my Montreal chicken seasoning. And this is another thing. I like to just sprinkle as I go because I have been doing this for so long. I know how much seasoning I need, but if you're doing this at home and you don't know how much seasoning you need, then I say to use a tablespoon of each seasoning that I use. And you're just going to move your chicken around and make sure that it's gathering all of that seasoning. And you're just going to repeat that for each seasoning that we're using. This is my garlic and herb seasoning. This is my turmeric seasoning. And you can already see that because of the cleanse and the drying, how well that chicken is gathering all those seasonings. I'm not even nowhere near done my seasoning, and it's very well flavored, very well seasoned already. When it comes to salt, I like to cook very lightly with salt. So this is the one seasoning. You're not going to use a tablespoon for it if you have to not just use it by your measurement. You have to create a measurement. I would just sprinkle this literally on top, one layer, very lightly. Just a dusting, and I'm done. Then you're going to move on to your garlic. You're going to move on to your garlic seasoning. Now we're going into our spices. You're going into your red pepper. Don't be scared of red pepper. The other seasonings, I want to balance it out. Your black pepper. Then you're going to go in with your no salt or original all-purpose seasoning. And now it's the fun time. It's time for the curry. So I always like to start with my mild curry because my mild curry is going to give it the color of curry. So you're going to always use more mild curry than your spicy curry. So my mild curry is in there. And then you're only going to use about a teaspoon of your hot curry because everybody can't really handle hot curry. In this house, we love it. But if your house is not a spicy house, I would use just a teaspoon. So now you have amazing seasoned curry chicken ready for the stove. You see that seasoning? You should always see a skin of seasoning that you're creating on these meats. This is how you get that burst of flavor. You don't want nobody telling you your food is bland. If it's bland, it ain't right. So now we're going to prep the stove. We're going to prep our stove and then we're going to start cooking. So we all know the rules here at Champagne Cuisine. It's time to sip our bubbly to get ready to get on the stove. So the only thing that's going in this pot that's going to cook with this wrap before we prep the wrap is the red onion. So we're going to chop this red onion. I like to just chop mine right at the butt on both sides. Make it very easy. I always like to cut right there on the first layer of the onion because it makes it easier to peel. You just peel that first layer back. You ain't wasting no onion. There's many, many layers. It's like a couture dress. And then we're just going to move this to the side. And we're going to cut our second onion the same way. Also, when you cut down the first layer of the onion, it's also cleansier to me because you're getting the inside. Where people haven't been touching and breathing, talking on, you just get that raw onion from the inside. So now I'm going to take these over to my sink real quick. I'm going to rinse them and I'm going to come back and we're going to chop them. So now my onions are nice and clean and red. So you can see the water on them. They look just beautiful. You always want to keep a bowl to the side to put all your little extras there. Keep your kitchen nice and clean while you're cooking. And then I'm just going to start to slice these onions. You don't want to cut these onions too small because you want them to caramelize down and really be a part of that wrap. Everybody loves to really taste their onions. So, you know, you want to caramelize them so they're soft and they're not crunchy, but you don't want to cut them too small. And I just kind of, I have long nails. Most people in the kitchen don't. I just kind of slide my nails back as I cut. But if you don't have long nails, you just slide your fingers back and you just go at it. You just make sure you got a firm hold onto it. So now we have 2 onions ready and prepared for the stove. So now we're going to prepare our pot so that we can go ahead and start cooking the chicken and the onions. We are going to, these are your essential items that you need by your stove that goes with your seasoning. You're going to always cook with your avocado oil. I like 100% pure avocado oil, very healthy. And you're going to use your extra virgin olive oil alongside with a stick of butter. Unsalted stick of butter. So we're going to prep this. You want your pan to be covered. So we're just going to prep this with olive oil until the pan is mostly covered. You're going to use a little less of the avocado oil. Just going to put that in. And then I'm going to use just a half stick of the unsalted butter. So I'm just going to cut it right down the middle. And I'm going to throw it right in the middle of my pan. And then I'm going to cut my burner on. This is a 2 burner, so I'm cutting on 2 burners. This is a 2 burner pan. And then I'm going to let this sit for a second, kind of let it all kind of heat up together, let the butter kind of melt a little bit, and then we're going to toss in our onions. So now you see our butter is starting to melt down in this pan. The pan is getting nice and hot. So we're just going to kind of spread it. I like to spread it. See everything married together. Once everything starts to marry together, I always like to put my onions in the middle of my pan because that will allow the onions to cook while I'm cooking the meat. And they cook at different times. And timing is so important for when you're cooking. So you're just going to kind of let that melt down. And then we're going to place our onions right here in the middle. And we're going to give these onions a second and let them kind of cook down. And then you take your glass and you sip on your bubbly while you let that cook. And move it around. You have to talk to your food. So you're going to move this around in the pot and you're just going to let that kind of start to saute down into this pot. Now once you start to see a lot of bubbles come into your pot, that means that this pot is really heated, it's hot, it's ready, and that's when we're going to go in with our chicken, and we're going to start to saute our chicken on both sides. So just going to take the first piece, and we're just going to lay the first piece going around the onions. Don't be scared of your food. Don't be scared of your pot. You won't get burnt. Just kind of maneuver that in. And now you see you have a pot full of color. You have your beautiful onions in the middle. You have your chicken on the outside. And then we're going to cover this so that it just takes in all the juices and stays moist. So now after maybe about 3 minutes, once everything is kind of cooked down and everything is kind of getting smoky and you kind of see your top, getting nice and fumy and foggy, you want to remove this. And then you want to move these onions around, because once again the onions will take longer to cook. And then we're just going to flip our chicken with a fork, and you're going to flip that chicken. You see how brown and toasty it already is? You're going to flip that chicken. This is such a quick, delicious meal. So once you flip that chicken over, move those onions around. You're going to cover it back up for about another 3 or 4 minutes. So of course, while our chicken is in the process of cooking, we're going to go ahead and sip our bubbly. At this point, you should be feeling nice and good. You should be ready to roll these wraps up really, really nice and full of flavor. And then we're almost at our last steps, and then you have a full dinner for everybody. This is like the best meal ever. So you're cooking on medium heat. So medium heat is going to penetrate everything really, really good, very even. I like to toss my chicken back and see if it's as toasty as the other side. Once it's as toasty as the other side, then we're going to take it off. Almost there. And our onions are cooking down. the onions is going to catch all the flavor that the seasoning that you put onto the chicken is now going to start to come onto the onions because you're cooking it in the same pot. Then you're going to cover it back up and give it about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to cut this pot off, and then I'm going to transfer everything back over here so that we can start to make our wraps. We're nice and smoky. The other side of the chicken is as toasted on both. Yeah, this is beautiful. Our onions are nice and caramelized and soft. 10 minutes top it took for this to cook. So now we're going to cut this off. And the cooking part is done. We're going to go into the wrap and we're going to come back to the stove to toast our wrap, and we're done. So once again, I like to move these onions around in this middle. And you can see them caramelizing all the way down. And you're going to cut this stove off and cover it back up because the heat is going to continue to cook your onions down. So we cut the stove off. We're just letting the steam down. Go into the caramelized onions, caramelize them some more. Make the chicken a little bit toasty. And now we're going to take this pot over to the wraps and we're going to create the wraps and come back. Okay, so now we're going to put our mittens on, which is going to be one of the fun things that you're going to have in your kit. We're going to take the pot off of the stove. We're going to place it onto I like to use one of my towels. You're going to place it onto a towel because you don't want to mess up your nice countertop. So we're going to take the pot off of the stove and put it onto the towel, and then we're going to start to transfer everything into our wraps. And voila, look at how amazing this dish looks already. You could serve this by itself. I mean, let's just be very clear. This would be tasty and delicious right now with absolutely nothing. But we're gonna take it even further. We're about to all the way make this a gourmet 20-minute dinner. So we're going to place our wrap nice and flat onto any surface that is good for you. And then we're going to put our chicken directly in the middle. And then we're going to take those caramelized onions and we're going to place them directly onto the chicken. And so what I like to do, because I come from a house that likes sauce. We like good sauce. We don't like nothing dry. We like it to just be gooey and good and melt in your mouth. So we're going to sauce each layer. So you're going to take your Ken's honey mustard first, and you're going to sauce that chicken and onions down. And then you're going to use your Ken's ranch, and you're going to sauce that chicken down. And now we're going to go in with toppings. So we're going to go in with our cheese. I like to have my cheese in the middle. I like the cheese to be nice and gooey. So this is your mozzarella cheese. You're going to just place your cheese right on top of that sauce. You're going to place that sharp cheddar right on top. Now we're going to go in with another layer of sauce. And then we're going to put our last layer, which is our veggies. We're going to put some lettuce, some chopped lettuce right in the middle of that beautiful wrap. And our good old diced tomatoes, which is so good for the heart. It brings in the perfect color. It's so refreshing and juicy. We're going to place that right there on top. You're going to add in your last layer of sauce. And sauce goes by how much you like. If you don't like as much sauce, you don't have to do every layer. You can do genuinely how much you like. We like a generous amount of sauce. And then I'm going to go into wrapping. So this is the part where you want to be a little focused because you want it to be right. So we're going to fold the bottoms over first. You're You're going to fold the side in. You're going to fold the bottom in. And then you're going to see how juicy that can get. You got to take control. We're going to move everything down. I'm actually going to take my fork because this is nice and juicy. And I'm going to pocket all that back in there. And then we're going to take that wrap over. Now, what I like to do is I like to place these over here and I like to prepare them for the stove when we toast them. But for now, we're going to just put it there and we're going to move on to our second one. Okay, last step of our 20-minute meal. It's already prepped. It's amazing. It tastes bomb already. You can eat it just like that. But I can't stop. I like perfection. I like a little toast, a little crunch. So the last step is we're going to take our olive oil just like the first step, but you're not going to use as much this time. You're going to use your good skillet pan. You're going to put just a dab of each oils. You're not going to cover the whole pan. And you're going to put the other half of that stick of butter right here in the middle of that pan. We're going to cut it on to medium heat. We're going to take our spatula and we're going to let that melt down. Now, I like to use the other half of butter because 9 times out of 10 I will be making a lot of wraps. I like to entertain, so I normally cook for a lot of people. But if you're just cooking for a small home, just 1, 2 wraps, 3 wraps, 4 wraps, you don't need this much butter. You can use maybe 1/3 of the butter, but I'm using half of the butter because I want to make a lot of wraps this evening. Okay, now once your butter is melted down, all you do is take your wrap, place it right there in the pan. Take your wrap, place it right there, and give it about 2 minutes so it can get nice and toasty, and then we're going to flip it to the other side, and then we're going to be done. So altogether, this takes about 5 minutes to toast down your wraps. So I like to take my spatula and smash my wraps down just a little bit to make sure it's frying down and getting all that good heat and toasting very well. And just like that, it's already nice and toasted on the first side. So you're just going to flip it to the other side. And do the same thing. You're just going to take your spatula and push it down. Make sure it's nice and toasted. So now we are at the very end of this meal. We are done cooking. We are going to serve this up on a plate and it's going to be so scrumptious and so good. And I'm probably on my 3rd glass of bubbly at this point. So this is your finished product. And of course you see how toasty they are. Some are more toastier than others depending on what it is that your family likes. You can cook them longer and make them toasty, or you can cook them shorter and just make them hard because these shells will harden on you. So you have to really wash them, maneuver them, and turn them, as you go to see to your liking. But now we're going to plate them and we're going to serve them. So we're going to take this beautiful wrap and we're just going to slice it down the middle. And you can already see the juices is trying to come out. And you have a good, juicy, tasty curry wrap. So now we're going to have my special guest come on and taste it. My production team here with me to taste this good food. I've been teasing him all day cooking. So he's going to taste this wrap and tell you all the truth.
It's smelling good. I know, right? I ain't trying to burn myself.
Don't burn yourself.
I ain't gonna lie, I was nervous.
Okay.
Because I don't like honey mustard.
Okay.
But this is really, really good.
The balance is great.
Yeah, really great.
The curry really takes the flavors to another level. Instead of just doing a boring chicken wrap.
And it's not, wow, man.
How is the chicken? Is it
everything's
tender?
balanced out. Yeah, the chicken is really juicy, tender, juicy, really, really good. Nothing is
Powering.
at all. Like I can't even really
Tell
what's in it. Yeah.
That's the beauty of
It
cooking,
just
guys.
it has a good, just defined flavor. That's
And
good.
that is what makes your food signature. When someone says what they don't eat, what they don't like, and they eat your food and they enjoy it anyway, is when you know you're a great cook. My grandmother used to always say, well, just eat it first. And I never really understood that until now that I'm a chef, you know, and that is so important. So when you can get people to like things that they don't like and you can balance flavors and get tenderized meats, you're on to something. Thank you for cooking with me. Toast to next time. Have your bubbly ready.